Here to the 8th edition of the Enterprise 2.0 Summit. My name is Björn Negelmann. I'm from Congress Media. I'm the head of conferences at Congress Media, so I'm a little bit also in charge, together with also our advisory board, about what we are discussing here within the next 2 days. So if you have any issues about the content, please come by and tell me. Yes, well, the Enterprise 2.0 Summit and Congress Media, we are doing this quite some time already. And this year we have the main theme, our main theme is designing the digital transformation. And to give you an overview about what we want to discuss within the next days and what it's all about, I've put together some introduction slides, which I want to provide you. So, just a little story. You all know the Gartner hype cycle, and it's a nice framework to discuss also always the developments of and the evolution of the discussion of things. So, and certainly also of the evolution of social and the discussion behind it. So, we started this Enterprise 2.0 Summit in 2008. At that time, it was still in Germany where we did our first Enterprise 2.0 Summit. At that time, we discussed about social technology, new social technology like wikis, like blogs, which could be used internally in the company. So this was always single applications at that time, and we talked about the potential of this. What we can do with it and why we should use it maybe. Then the topic evolved, and well, there was 2009 another Enterprise 2.0 Summit, and then 2010 we got the rise of the first appearance of the first social collaboration suites. Somehow, so technology which included different aspects of social, so sharing knowledge, connecting people and so on. And it was certainly becoming the rise of the topic. So everybody was aware of now, well, at least in the experts discussion, there was a high knowledge about social and the social potential, and we should go this way. So we raised this topic further, and 2012 was the first time when we did the Enterprise 2.0 Summit here in Paris. We somehow reached the hype cycle top at that point. The hype cycle for the notion of, or the term of social. Because at that time we talked all about, yes, social is changing the world. And we really believed in this. And everybody was talking about this, that there will be a big change. And we don't have to talk only about technology, but also about the change behind and the transition management behind social. So we changed a little bit the topic already from the technology towards all the aspects which are around social and the adoption of social. At some point after that, companies realized that just introducing social as a technology and also providing or supporting the adoption of this technology on the individual level, a team level maybe, is not really changing something. And at some point it was only on the departmental level, and so there was a decline of thinking about social. The first blog posts within the expert community appeared about social is dead. So, now we are somehow last year already we somehow realized that there must be something else, there must be a strategic approach to it, social must be included as well from the approach to social must be bottom up but as well as top down, and there must be a strategic importance settled within the companies, so social is really successful at the end. So that was last year, but the question is now, what is next? So last year I showed this slide in my introduction talk, where I said, well, what's the situation? What are the companies? Where are the companies settled? We have some more trends, studies, and results from more in-depth, deep research also today. But this was a little bit a high-level clustering of the case studies I perceived at our conferences, and I always had three clusters. So certainly we have always the beginning companies, but within the more matured project we have these three clusters. So we have those people who are somehow stuck in the middle, who introduced social technologies and moved on this track, introduced also, tried to manage the social adoption on a wide scale within the enterprise, but didn't really change the company at that point. Then we have also had and have also some new leaders on the block, which have a more strategic approach with the top management behind it, and the top management already driving the aspect of social, but always also with thinking of, yes, social is something new, and we are doing social. And then we had also these outperformers, which really were disrupting some of the space. And well, we said, well, they perceive social somehow different. Last year we discussed, so those outperformers, certainly they are more perceiving social also from the outside to in, so they're really realizing that social must be connected with the business value chain and so on. So this was somehow the explanation of that there are people that really got it and advanced their companies. But still there's something missing. So we're always hoping about social is changing in the world, but we haven't yet discussed really how it's changing and how we can manage to really being successful with this change and transformation. And this is also a little bit what we have to do this year. So this was our idea of why we're setting up this conference this year and how the agenda is put together. And there's one point, you might know these two guys up there, Eric Brynolfsen and Andrew McAfee, and they wrote a book last year, or 2 years ago, I think, no, 3 years ago already. So it's the second machine age. So essentially, they were just talking about the developments of the technology, and always refer to this chessboard image that and the law, Moore's law, so that each generation the performance of technology is doubling, and so you double it with on the chessboard. There's a story about this rice farmer in China who asked who had a solution and asked for a remedy for paying him with rice, and he asked that he should be paid just with one rice corn, and the doubling of each rice corn and the amount of rice corn on each field on this chessboard. And actually, when you go up the numbers of the fields in the chessboard, it rises in the second half of the chessboard to a number that we cannot really imagine. And actually, Eric Brynolfsen and Andrew McAfee said we are now, with the technology advancements, we are in the second half of the chessboard. So there's really things are changing, and they're changing so fast that we cannot really think about it. So we heard about social already disrupting some business models. So we have this Uber, this new approach to transportation with Uber coordinating the transportation market already by crowdsourced mechanism via technology. So this is not really about the technology, the power of the technology. But now, within the second half of the chessboard, we have even the next disruption, maybe also the disruption of Uber coming up with self-driving cars. Because tomorrow we have self-driving cars, and it's makeable, feasible, and reachable really in only years, not in centuries. That there are self-driving cars now running on the streets of Europe. So we have a legislation discussion in Germany already that they also want to have some special lines on the German Autobahn reserved for self-driving cars coming up. So this is within the next 10 years we will have self-driving cars. We would have imagined this 10 years ago about this technology shift. So there's a high rise and high rise within the technology advancement, so it's exponential, but on the other side, our organizations are not changing exponential. So they are rather changing logarithmical, so there's a really gap between how the organization is advancing and how technology is advancing. So there's somehow this question of, there's a system change. And we have to discuss this. And we either have to change, or we either manage to change and transform the system, or we get lost within the gap. So this is also a new force from outside, I think, which is really driving the idea of social, because social, and this is an old chart we discussed years ago, social always has these two sides of a coin, the yin and yang factors of social. And on the one hand, if you introduce social, you can improve existing processes. You can improve the collaboration within the company and therefore improve the system as it is. On the other hand, by the introduction of social, by improving the collaboration, you provide more transparency over the company processes, and somehow you change, or you provide the ability of change for the company. So you always have these two factors. You support the existing system, but on the other hand, you equally support the transformation and the questioning about the system. So therefore, if we think about social and about this technology forces from the outside to the companies, we have to think about how we can support or improve the existing system on the one hand with our social collaboration approaches. We also have to think about what is the future model and how we can support this future model and how we can conceptualize this future model, because this is not yet clear. We always talk about the potential of the changes coming with social, but there are no really discussions about what is the future model of the organization, what is the future model of leadership and management. So this is still a real question, and so we have to discuss about the transformation process. So we have to discuss of the aspects on how we can ignite the transformation, how we can proactively push the company and the management to go forward. And on the other hand, if there are the forces coming from outside, we have to discuss how we can manage the transition when it's being forced to be transformed from the outside. So these are, for us, these are the four essential questions we really have to discuss within the sphere of digital transformation and also the enablement of this digital transformation with social. So this is also therefore the agenda for the next 2 days for us. So we have some nice social collaboration practices which are surely not yet there within the transformation stage, but certainly are improving the existing system. We also have talks in our second track within the next 2 days with experts how to, well, manage the transition mode and also the transformation. And we also have here within our keynotes some digital leaders today and tomorrow, which are coming from, for us, digital leaders. They are top management members, and they transformed, or they went through the transformation of their companies. So they will talk about their stories, why they did this, and what was the reason to do this. And then, last but not least, we also have to talk about, certainly about the future models. We will have some workshops about this, to gather all the ideas, to put this together, because well, I've seen, maybe you've seen, books that already have a holistic approach on this and have a proven answer to this, but I haven't seen it. And there are many different approaches, many different recommendation advices, and well, we have to gather them together and find a way. So this is about what we want to do, and well, our conference always has a very informal way, so this is a place to exchange ideas, to exchange experience, so feel free to really get into the discussion. We have some people up there, here in front, who are telling their stories, but we always provide some time for discussion, and we really want to ask you to really get into the discussion with us all. So this is all about, and about this space we're in. I'd like to welcome you here in the conference center of the Union of the Railways, International Railway Association, and especially this room. It's named after Louis Armand, and probably the French people know Louis Armand. I had to Google it, and actually this really fit into our topic, because, well, he was the first CEO of SNCF in France, and he was also in the Resistance. So he was working against a system and trying to defend the system. And later on, he even transformed the system, because he was the guy who introduced the electrification within France, and also supported some forums about the transformation or the change of the enterprise to get a better way in the future. So this is really about the transformation, and therefore it really fits together, and I hope we have a good conference, and yeah, that's